Hey there! Every month, Annie has a call with our Path 365 members and answers their questions. She tackles a wide range of topics from what to do with big emotions, what kinds of tips and advice she has for addressing difficult situations, how to deal with cravings, and so much more. Listen in as she does some real life coaching for our Path members.
I feel like the pause is giving me the excuse to drink. I understand the concept, just trying to figure out and let it sink in. And it looks like a lot of people are feeling the same. All right, so the pause is not going to work if you don't engage in the lessons and if you don't get radically curious with yourself and if you can't let go of the judgment. All right, so why is it that you want to drink? What is it that you think that alcohol is doing for you? What is it that you think is so great? That entire thinking process of like, I have to do this right now because like it's going to get taken away. So I need to get all of it in. It's like the idea of I'm going on a diet tomorrow. So I'm going to eat like 3 pints of ice cream. Don't judge that either. That's a very natural human response to, but get curious about it. Okay, why do I want to make myself sick eating ice cream? Because I'm not going to eat it tomorrow. What is it that I think ice cream is going to be able to do for me that is going to be taken away from me tomorrow? Right? So it isn't wrong. These patterns of the brain, like, isn't that interesting? Just like for a second, like, let's just think about that. Like, isn't it radically interesting how your brain is trying to almost create like an excuse or a justification ahead of time, right? It's creating a narrative or a story that, oh, this is just an excuse to drink. How interesting is that? Like, how interesting is it that the brain wants to make itself sick on ice cream the day before going on a diet? How interesting is it? And that is all tied up in the fact that the substance itself has got its hooks in you. How interesting is that? How interesting is it that you need an opportunity or excuse to drink? And if you aren't in the pause, it's the willpower paradigm, right? You're just using the willpower. You're saying, okay, I'm not drinking, but at least then I'm righteous about it. At least then I'm doing the right thing. And somehow drinking is the wrong thing. It's just interesting. And like, you can unpack it in any different way you want, but I just want us to approach this as like, how fascinating is it that my brain is trying to play tricks with me here? How fascinating is it that my brain is telling me ahead of time that this isn't going to work because it's just an excuse to drink. I'm not going to learn anything, right? Because all of those things are shutting down curiosity. And so I'm not saying that any of it is wrong. I'm just saying, like, let's get just like how much more, no matter how curious you've been till this point, how much more curious could you be? Like, how much more enthralled with how your own brain works and how it works in relation to alcohol could you be? Like, how much more interesting could you find it to be like, where else? If I told you like, hey, I want you to just, just for a few weeks, like, just keep eating eggs. Just, keep eating them. We might have to give them up, but just keep eating them. Would that happen? Like, would you be like, oh, well, it's just an opportunity. It's just an excuse to eat. Like, how interesting is that? Like, how much more curious could we get, right? And I'm not saying that, like, yeah, the brain's going to do all sorts of things. And just like, let's just find fascination in it. Let's just find fascination in it, because that is the way through. When we can find fascination, when we can find curiosity, guess what's not happening? The judgment. We're not automatically making ourselves wrong for drinking and right for not drinking. And that is an old paradigm. And that is a paradigm that will cause you so much pain, right? I can talk about this a little bit more in the context of like eating and diet culture, because I think that this is something that a lot of people can relate to. But who's had the experience of you've been really watching what you eat and you're on kind of one of those phases, because that's how it goes. It's always in cycles. So you're really watching what you eat and you're going out and you're ordering the salad and everybody else is ordering the burgers and you feel just righteous. You just feel like, oh yeah, I'm just kind of righteous. And you just kind of are in your groove about it. But then eventually you kind of also few weeks later, you're kind of in the mode of like, you're always justifying it too. You want to make yourself feel better. So then you're in the mode of like, all right, well, I'm alive. I'm going to live a little. If I want a burger, I'm going to have a burger. And then the person, you see them, they're ordering a salad and you're just feeling kind of like, oh, well, sucks to be you. I'm embracing life. So you found a narrative on both sides. Like, how fascinating is that, right? Like, how fascinating that we find a narrative to kind of make ourselves like either right or wrong on both sides. Because then we can find the exact opposite narrative of they're eating a burger and you're eating a salad. Oh my gosh, I'm so terrible. I can't believe I did this. But like our brains, like they're very two-faced. Like they can tell us any story we want about any situation. Anyway, I'm kind of going on a tangent, but my ask is that you would just put down worry and just get as curious as possible. Maybe your brain is using it as an excuse to drink. That's also okay. Look how many people are agreeing, and look how many people this program works for, right? Like, just be curious about it. Because in that, well, I feel like my brain is using it as an excuse to drink. Guess what you've done? You've made your brain wrong for using it as an excuse to drink, or you've made the program wrong for introducing the pause, whatever it is, but you've made something wrong. Whenever we make something wrong, we make ourselves feel right, but we want to get out of all of that. Like, we're just going to put all of that to the side, because I said this earlier and I'm going to say it again. At the core of you, human being, in every single one of how many of us are on here, 176 of us, every single one of us, at the core of us, when all the beliefs are stripped away, you can be trusted with you. You can be trusted with your want and your desire for you, because your highest self wants the best for you. We've just gotten confused, and there's so much confusion. Our entire society has confused us about alcohol. Everything on the media has confused us about alcohol. Our own experiences have literally biologically and neurologically confused us about alcohol. And when we unwind that confusion, and when you're looking at that bottle of beer, how much freedom is it to look at it and have a yes or a no that's true for you? And actually decide either the yes or no is okay. And 90% of people drink less or stop drinking, and 54% of people stop drinking with this naked mind in surveys that we've done, PhD reviewed surveys. Now, here's the thing, like that yes or no, it doesn't have all of the intensity and all of the emotion around it. It's just you deciding for you without the confusion. And at the end of the day, like, you don't want to, like, your decision is going to, people surprise themselves. They're like, I didn't even realize, but I actually want to feel better the next day. I don't, like Meg was saying, I don't want to go to this week's big party because I want to be present for my kids. And it's not a have to, it's not a must, it's not a punishment. It's literally just like, actually what I want and who I am, they're in line for the first time in a long time. And that's freedom. And that's why we care so much about what you want and how you feel. And your behavior, fine, you have the beer, you don't have the beer. Because when you really, really get clear without all the toxic noise, without all the conditioning, you can be trusted with you to make the right decisions. You really, truly can. And over and over and over again, we have shown this to be true.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you're ready to see how This Naked Mind can help you on your personal health and wellness journey and want to learn more, go to thisnakedmindpodcast.com to learn what your next best step is. Again, that's thisnakedmindpodcast.com. We have all of our free resources, programs, social links, and more available for you there. Plus, if you have your own naked life story to share, you can submit it there as well. Until next week, stay curious.